Greetings, my fellow ghouls, goblins, and ghosts. Welcome back to my channel, and we are kicking off the new year with a brand new spooky video. I am super excited because I am actually going to be talking about one of my favorite extended cuts of horror film ever. And if you follow me on Twitter, you probably have seen me talk about this. I actually watched it the other night. I'm really excited to talk about why exactly it's my favorite extended cut of any horror movie ever. And that film, my friends, is the extended cut of Halloween 1978. Now, I talked about this film a little bit in my Christmas Horror Haul Part 2 video. I'll put the link in the description if you haven't seen that. This version was made for TV, like they had to cut some things out and add some scenes, but here's the thing. The DVD has all the scenes that the Halloween that we know and love is in, as well as some extended scenes, which is why this is my favorite cut. And I'm going to get into some of those scenes and explain why it's my favorite. So the film is obviously exactly the same, the DVD version, and like I said, they added these scenes, so let's get into why it's my favorite. I'm actually going to explain what these scenes are, these added scenes, and why it makes the movie for me. And I think this is I think it's out of print. I'm not sure. It's almost out of print because it was a little pricey. I got it for Christmas. But it was super worth it. It's such a great Christmas present. I actually owned it at another time, but it got ruined, so I'm so happy to acquire it in my collection again. So without further ado, let's get into some of these extended scenes, and maybe it will explain a little bit why this is my favorite version. Bear with me here, guys. I have some notes. When I watched it the other night, I wanted to copy down what happened in each of these extended / added scenes so I can describe them to you. We will start with scene 1, which I like to call the court scene. Now, this was an added scene to the film, and to me, it gave a lot more context. In this court scene, it opens with Dr. Loomis. He wanted Michael to be put in a maximum security unit. If you've seen the original Halloween, you probably know how everyone accused Loomis of letting him out. Well, Loomis actually did the exact opposite, and in this scene it shows him begging and pleading with them to keep him in a maximum security unit because he foresees him getting out in the future. He foresees him, causing the destruction that he's going to cause. See, Loomis, being his psychiatrist, knew exactly what Michael Myers was capable of, and the courts were just too stupid to, take what the psychiatrist was saying at face value. Basically, they told Loomis that they had the best security, that they didn't have anything to worry about, that Michael would never break out. And this leads us to another added scene that took place after the court scene. I call this scene Loomis Visits Young Michael. Loomis visits young Michael in the mental ward where he's just staring out the window. Loomis says, "You fooled them, haven't you, Michael? But you haven't fooled me." Michael made it appear that he was going to be catatonic forever, that he would just never say another word, and that he would be able to be tried as an adult when he became 18 years of age. Loomis knew that Michael knew exactly what he was doing, and he was just waiting and biding his time to where he was old enough to escape. This next added scene, where Loomis gets the call that Michael has escaped, he immediately goes to the hospital. One of the nurses actually leads him into Michael's room where he sees that it's completely and utterly destroyed. Michael destroyed everything, broke the windows. The nurse says that Michael even busted all the doors and pushed all the patients outside, which that would actually explain why all the patients were walking around outside. It's because Michael pushed them out. And I believe he did this because he wanted to create sort of a, divergence and escape easier. If everyone else is focused on the other patients, they won't be able to catch Michael, and, well, he succeeded. Well, there's something else that was in the scene when Loomis goes to see the destruction of Michael's room. Something is carved on the inside of the door. It's the word sister. Now, I know this makes it kind of confusing, especially if, you go by the David Gordon Green, timeline and stuff like that with, it retconning Halloween 2. But as most of you guys know, Halloween 2 is probably my favorite Halloween film of all time. It kind of, we don't know if Michael necessarily means, Judith as his sister. But like I said before, I kind of see the David Gordon Green trilogy as, an alternate universe. I can go from either universe and it doesn't really matter to me. But I just thought it was cool that, or a fun little fact that he actually carved the word sister on the inside of the door in his room when he was in the mental hospital before he escaped. This was the last added scene. Yes, they only added 4 extra scenes into this version, but they add a little more context to the story, and this scene is more funny than anything. And I like to call this scene Linda asked to borrow Laurie's blouse. So you guys know the scene in Halloween where Linda and Bob pull up to Lindsay's house and Linda's like, "Don't rip my blouse, it's expensive, idiot." Well, it's not even her blouse, it turns out. There's a scene where Laurie gets out of the shower and hears the doorbell ring, and she answers it, and Linda runs in there frantically because, somebody's following her. But then, after she calms down, she apparently asked Laurie to borrow her blouse. So apparently that silk blouse that she was so worried about Bob ripping wasn't even hers, it was Laurie. And that's the real reason why she didn't want her blouse ripped, which I thought was kind of funny. But what adds to that comedy a little bit more is how when Linda's over at her house, Annie actually calls on the phone to ask if she could borrow clothes too. So it's I don't know, it's kind of funny, but it adds a little more context to the whole blouse thing. It adds a little more comedy into it, which I appreciated, a little bit of dry humor there. I thought it was funny. But those were the added scenes that were in the film. Now let's go to why I like this version better. Well, one, I like this version better because of all the extra scenes. It gives the story a little more context, and it, enriches the story a little bit. Sure, you don't need any of those scenes, but it makes the movie a ton more fun. Also, it's a unique version. It, gives it more depth, I feel, and it's just all-out fun version to watch. And if you've never seen it, I highly recommend trying to find it. Like I said, I don't know how many copies are actually available out there, but it was really, really fun to watch. And I think I explained this in my Christmas horror haul video, as to why they made an extended version. I will explain it again for those of you who haven't seen that video. Well, apparently when Halloween was sold to NBC in 1980, the network's Standards and Practices Department demanded numerous edits to the original film. Although producer Deborah Hill personally debated the cuts, it became necessary to create additional scenes to fill the movie's 2-hour television runtime. Using the crew of Halloween 2 as well as the stars Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance, John Carpenter commenced a 3-day shoot of all new scenes and alternate footage that was then added to the original feature. And it's really cool because they actually, for the DVD, added all the original scenes as well as the extended scenes, which makes it all the more special. That was just a quick little video as to why I like this version the best and why I'm so happy to have it in my collection. And I highly recommend it. If you've never seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. Not only that, look how cool the cover is, guys. Look how cool it is. I'll just kind of put it up a little bit. I think the cover's amazing. I think it's really cool. I'd love to have this as a poster, and I'm so happy to have it as part of my collection. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please give me a like and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification so you don't miss a post. And give me a follow on Twitter at Purgatory Horror, and give me a follow on Instagram as well at Purgatory Horror. I'm also making little short TikTok videos with the same username, Purgatory Horror, just to make things easier. And if you guys don't already know, I set up a Patreon, so if you guys are looking to support the content and channel and looking to support my art in any type of way, feel free to check out the Patreon. It's got different tiers. Each tier offers something a little different and then some, so go ahead. It's worth worth checking out, and it's a great way to support the channel. Thank you guys so much for your support. Happy New Year. I love you guys. So long and pleasant screams.